Get ready for takeoff because it's a take flight talk. It's your boy James Woody. We got Fitz, but what is 2 weeks in a row? Oh my gosh, we got a third pilot in the cockpit. Abby, welcome back. How
Back
you
at it
feeling?
again.
Hey. So hey, let me tell you something. All right. This episode of Take Flight Talk, we are talking about how the Jets defeated the Bears 31-10. They smack it down on those Bears. Abby, how you feeling about this game?
3 words. Mike effing White. I'm all aboard the Mike White train at this point. Last week I was I'm like choo-choo. I'm the conductor on the train. Oh my God, what a game. I mean, he just did what we needed him to do and more. Literally. We were expecting the bare minimum. That's all we needed. And he just went completely off. You know what? It was crazy because I was thinking, I'm like, well, I read a stat and he did what Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson couldn't do, and that's score on the opening drive. Like, that is great. I was like, that's why I knew this game was just a done deal after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it was a good game. I'm super happy, super stoked. I kept thinking the whole time too, Zach Wilson would never put up those stats. I don't even think he has his whole NFL career. So, and then I think the one, obviously there's plenty of touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, absolutely love him. But I was really happy, honestly, with the Elijah Moore touchdown. I know all the controversy and whatever, but you can genuinely tell he just wanted to be a part of the team and contribute to the team. He was ecstatic after the game. He was going all up and down the end zone too. So I'm hyped. I'm ready for next week already.
Love it.
What are you guys thinking? How you guys feel?
Well, so Woody, I'm a little bit disappointed. So Woody actually failed to mention this episode of Take Flight Talk is brought to you by Charmin Ultra because those Bears like to dump. Those Bears like to take dumps, and they're still wiping from what they did yesterday. I don't think it's really discussed well enough, or really noted strongly enough. It was pouring rain. I was at that game. Like, I don't know if you could tell as well on television. Like, it was pouring rain. So for Mike White to go on, I keep coming back. There was a few throws that he had that really kind of makes you want to watch that clip over and over and over. That one to Mike White, the one from Mike White to Garrett Wilson over the middle for the touchdown. That one was different. That one was different. That throw, 1 inch in any other direction. Like, it's either it's picked by one guy or the other. Like, the ball could not have been placed more perfectly. Hit him in stride, but on the back shoulder to allow him to make that pivot back inside. Because if he was to stay outside, he would have gotten hit. It was Mike White put on a tremendous performance. One that Abby has mentioned has never happened by Zach Wilson. In fact, there's numerous stats coming in saying that 450 yards of offense plus 3 touchdowns. It's happened like 3 times in the last 4 seasons, and all 3 were Mark White. This guy is, and I'm not necessarily here saying this is the thing. I'm going to say one last thing. I want to hear, obviously, what he's got to say. I think we have a lot of people quickly to, like, they've got their guy in their head. It's either Zach or it's Mike, and they've got their pick. And they're trying to go and pick every little stat, every little thing, every little error Mike White had. Oh, you think he's the guy? Oh, he had 4 incompletes, you idiot. It's like, I feel like everybody's got this bias, and I think we need to sit back and trust the coaching staff to make the right decision, who's going to give us the best opportunity to win the game. The only thing I will say about Robert Saleh that I did not love in his press conference, despite Mike White's beautiful performance yesterday, is he came out and he was like, the plan is still to get to Zach Wilson when he's ready. When he's ready, he's going to play. It's like, what's ready look like? I don't think Saleh has, although he made a very difficult decision and he deserves a lot of credit for that, I don't think he's been as supportive of the one quarterback who's been the only quarterback we've had in years to consistently put yards on the board, get scores on the board. And I don't really love the rhetoric that he's publicly using about Mike White, but I'm going to go and leave that little bit of tea with Woody.
Start sipping.
That is very interesting, actually. The game itself, I feel like, went pretty close to what I was saying. I mean, the defense scared me that first quarter.
Oh, yeah. I was a little nervous.
I was like, are we in for a shootout right now? You know, like I was definitely nervous. But Ben, don't break, right? They were getting us nervous against the Pats too, right? You know, there were a couple of 3rd and 17s that they let, New England convert with missing tackles. But bend, don't break. So good to see that they got that all under wraps. CJ Mosley got a nice little pick at the end there. And then the offense, I mean, Mike White, you knew what I was going to say, yak monsters, just, make these short passes and, let those guys run. Elijah Moore, Abby, to your point, I was out here. I was just, I was giddy, happy for Elijah because, he's a competitor, That's all he wants is to be on the board. Mike versus Zach. First of all, I think we all, and we're not, Fitz said it perfectly. There is a Mike section and a Zach section, but we're just fans. I don't understand, like, what has happened? What have these guys done, to make you so fiercely loyal to the man over the team? And I don't want to show, my bias because obviously Mike White has given us a 400-yard game. He just had this masterful performance this time. I'm not sure what we've seen from Zach that puts him on an equal playing field, but being loyal to either one, to me, doesn't make too much sense. In the end, right, like Abby's quote that we put on the IG, whoever it is, we just need to win, right? I fully agree with that. For Salah to come and say that the plan is still to go back to Zach, I mean, I think that's just some coverage. Salah, he's out here politicking, saying these random things, these ridiculous things that he clearly doesn't always mean or is, underselling. So I think that might be some of that. I mean, Zach, over this past game, I mean, they have memes of him looking like Anakin Skywalker. They got memes, just like looking like miserable. Like, is there any? Please, somebody DM me the footage at S2S Woody. Is there any pictures of him smiling? Is he happy that the team won a game by 3 touchdowns? Because I didn't see it. So I feel like just getting that sense, Salah is almost doing damage control. I was saying, like, hey, guys, don't rag on my young quarterback. Like, he got feelings and, still more coddling, which is what their treatment of Zach has been from day one. That's my 2 cents on the Zach versus Mike.
So that's fine, Woody. And I want to go and pass this question around because you mentioned the politicking. I think he's done a very good job of politicking in a very tricky situation.
Yes.
Where, our young quarterback is pacing for, hoping it's going to be his 3rd year in the NFL before he makes something of himself. That's what he's pacing for. Like, best case, his 3rd year is going to be the breakout year. That's a little bit behind the standard of quarterbacks that do end up breaking out. So that being the case, Salah, like you said, politicking did he do the best bit of politicking with what he said? Couldn't he have done the politicking and saying, we're going to play the best guy to win us games? He could have said, like, we haven't made decisions on next week, the week after. Like, we are here. We just won. We're going to enjoy Victory Monday. We're going to play each week the quarterback that puts us in the best position to win. That is politicking, to defend your man, Mike White, who's been putting on a clinic for you and saving your ass, honestly. If we're being honest, he's been saving Salah and Joe Douglas by being able to get the best out of Elijah Moore, getting him back on the team and organization side, getting Garrett Wilson fed. That guy's a hungry boy. He's a skinny little gun. He's a hungry little boy. I think the politicking could have been done a little bit better. What do we think, Abby?
No, I agree, because I think when they made the decision to sit Zach down, he was like, we're looking at everything and everybody, and we're going to go ahead and make the changes accordingly. Yep. To me, that means week by week. And then, so who had a good game yesterday was Bam Knight.
Yeah,
and
he
it
did.
was weird
Yeah,
that
he did.
Robinson was out and Bam Knight was in. And so that kind of proved his point. Like, it's not only he was looking at Zach, he's looking at the whole offense just in general. But no, I agree with you, Fitz. That's where I'm at. I mean, again, the coddling of Zach Wilson is not going to get him nowhere. It's not going to get us anywhere doing that. And like I said, right now, it already is a week by week thing. You know what I mean? We can't say that Mike White's going to be the guy moving forward for the next 2 weeks. He has a huge game coming up this weekend. So you kind of just got to see how it goes from there. What do you think, Woody?
Let me, and I hate doing this. I feel like too many times I'm the bearer of bad news. And I'm not being the bearer of bad news. Maybe I am. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Mike White. We already know that's my boy. Before Cincy, I was telling the world in the Woody 3, I was like, I think this dude is going to have a good game. I didn't know he was going to have 400 yards, jersey up in Canton, all that. He's a good dude. I feel like the Mike White train has gotten a little too crowded. All right. Because what we've seen or what took place, and I get the weather conditions. The stat line that he put up, no matter who puts it up, that's a fantastic game. Patrick Mahomes has that stat line. He is being shown everywhere, right? Like that is a mark of a true good game, right? Bears defense, kind of atrocious. They've actually averaged 31 points allowed in the last 3 games before that one. We hit it right on the dot, 31, right? The only, real, Pro Bowl player they had was Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson during that game actually dropped a pick, right? He actually had the ball in his hands, dropped it, who knows, uncoordinated, one of those. Then he got hurt. On the actual Garrett Wilson TD play, right? My man's is sitting in the middle of the field. He is hurt. He didn't come back for the rest of the game. I am not saying that what happened was a fluke because we've already seen it done in the past. But what I am saying is, if Salah doesn't want to publicly, say, Mike White, and still want to play this whole, I'm going to coddle to Zach Wilson, I don't think that's doing Zach any favors, but Mike will be fine. He's going to bounce back. He's going to be resilient. I mean, he started the year as QB3. I mean, he's out here
moving on up.
Yeah, he knows what it takes mentally. He has those mental intangibles. But I don't know. I don't know what his ceiling is, I guess, is the heart of what I'm saying. We are going to see against the Vikings and Buffalo, what Mike White really is. And I'll tell you this, if this boy plays both of those games and throws 0 interceptions, I'm going to get a jersey. I'm going to get a Mike White jersey. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll be out here. I'll be a brother walking the streets with White on my back. All right?
Well, look, there's a couple of things you said there. The whole thing of, it's against the Bears. Oh, the Bears. So is the Vikings going to prove it? Because let me explain something real quick. The Vikings are rated 32nd in the league for pass defense. 32nd. So if that's the prove it game because the team is better, because the team is more successful, it's because they have a high-powered offense. It's not because they're defense. So the Vikings is not a prove it game for him. Even with only one Pro Bowler that got hurt. Want to talk about injuries, Woody? I know you're not no stranger to this. Brace Hall wasn't there. James Robinson wasn't there. The whole injury thing, we're dealing with an offensive line that besides center and left guard is down to our second or fourth string in every other position. So the whole injury, they're an injured Bears defense. Shut your mouth. Not you, but shut your mouth. Anybody says this, shut your mouth. Like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And the last thing I will say, again, I don't care if you're playing a freaking JV team. The weather, it was pouring, rain. To be able to grip a ball that way. Yeah, you know what? Everybody, like you said, to compare it to Patrick Mahomes, every quarterback, every game, every other game, every few games gets lucky with the pick that should have happened that didn't. And yeah, he did get away with one. Absolutely did. But you know what? He put together a game with 0 interceptions, a passer rating of 149.3, which a lot goes into that. That's I think the number that I think we should be most optimistic about what his potential is and what his ceiling could potentially be over the 315 yards, over the 3 touchdowns, because that passer rating means he's got a high completion rating. The guy was completing passes. He didn't have to do anything special, but he was able to make the reads, figure out where to get the ball, and execute that game plan that he had a week as QB1 to prepare for and execute on. And he did so in an elite way, in an elite fashion, in the pouring rain. I haven't done my laundry yet. I'm on the road right now for work. My bedroom at my apartment stinks. It's a bunch of soaking wet denim and Sauce Gardner jersey. It reeks. Abby, set me straight here. Am I nuts?
No, so obviously I had to watch the whole game on TV. I didn't get to go, unfortunately. But the rain, you couldn't tell how bad it was. But at the second half, they had to keep swapping in between like 3 cameras because raindrops kept getting on the lens. So, and then it would hit a certain angle. And I think it's kind of towards the end of the game, it hit Salah. And then I can really see the rain. And I actually,
ball ahead.
Yeah. I actually feel really bad because from what I heard, obviously Darrelle Revis went in the Ring of Honor, and I think a lot of people went away from their seats, if I'm correct. Oh my God, you're one of them.
No,
The most
and that man was crying. He was in tears.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw.
Yeah, but the weather, yeah, that's definitely huge. I can't believe you. That man, he was crying before he even started talking.
I love that man just as much as anybody. It was like, that's how bad the weather was. Like, you gotta understand. Like, we had a few Ring of Honor guys this year, and we actually lost. It was the first Ring of Honor game that we've won. We were actually 0-2 in Ring of Honor games before this game. This was the one I was most excited about. Darrelle Revis is my dude.
Clearly not.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It was that cold and that wet that we needed that little halftime to like just get under the yawn. We listened. We heard everything. We saw it. On the TV. We heard it, but like it was too cold and too wet.
Well, it's funny.
That is true. A lot of people came under.
You're talking about getting a Mike White jersey. I only have 2 Jets jerseys, Mark Sanchez and Darrelle Revis.
There you go. Classics.
And I have not committed to getting a new one yet. I really want a newer one, but I'm gonna have to get a custom one and just put my name on the back. It's just gonna say ads.
I mean, that's true for the last like 11 years, but now we're in a time like this offseason. I bought a Sauce jersey, and that's as safe as you can get. You know.
Yep.
Well, I thought about getting Sauce only because it has 1, like number 1. I'm like, oh, okay, I can rock with that number. You know what I mean? The only other person is Garrett Wilson that I've thought about remotely getting, but
I was about to say him too. I think Garrett and Brees. Brees isn't going anywhere.
And Brees, too. Yep. It sucks he got hurt, but I think those 3 are like locks. You got at least 3 years of good wear and tear you can get out of those things.
Absolutely. So I would definitely say those 3. But if Mike White, if he does not throw a pick, then that means because both of those games I envision will be high scoring, and I do think it makes a difference. Like the Vikings do have a terrible, passing defense, but like the game script changes if the score is 14-0 versus if you're up 14-0. Like, so I do think that does make a difference. So Zach. If Mike
exorcism, we need an exorcism.
The power of Christ. No. But if Mike White is able to just shoot out and gunsling with no pick, like then I might have to change my whole stance on the train. I've been on the train since day one. There was no one on this train. I don't know if you're been in NYC, the train, just empty. You get to chill. That was me last year. Now it's like a real NYC train. You out here standing there, you can't even move. Everybody, that person smells like garbage. Like you're just like, yo, that's what this Mike White train is like. And if he is able to survive these 2 games, then we're going to be talking about something. But I do love, Abby, how you brought up Bam Knight All right, what a debut.
Wow.
I mean, he balled out, and I wasn't even expecting to see his name, hear him play whatsoever. Hear his name or see him play whatsoever. Because I didn't even know James Robinson was out until noon of that day. And then Michael Carter, who I started in fantasy football, got hurt. So then, here we were with Bam and Ty Johnson, and both of them were spectacular.
Did we get a reason for James Robinson's? Because he was a healthy scratch, it said.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did we hear anything about this?
They were saying knee, but then for this, they were saying it last week. He was questionable during practice last week, but this week leading up, I didn't see anything on the report, so I'm not too sure.
So that means, and this is like getting back to the whole injury thing. Mike White beat them with, we had a healthy receiving core, but RB2 and RB4. And, the tackles, obviously, we're deep tracked with the tackles with the injuries. The right guard. I think that really goes and shows for Zonovan Knight, the credit that he is not really getting, that he really deserves. Everybody's just because it's Mike White and he had an electric game last year against the Bengals. The Jets win. Even if he would have had a mediocre game, everybody going, Mike White led us to victory. He had an exceptional game, but I feel like Zonovan Knight is really not getting the credit. So, Abby, very big shout out to you for bringing his name up, because I would have honestly forgotten, but he was incredible. He out-touched MC twice as many.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, I think, Garrett Wilson kind of, anytime he scores like 2 TDs, it outshines him too. You know what I mean? So it's probably just because he's a rookie, obviously. So
that boy Garrett, man. The whole team. I feel like anytime anybody caught the ball, I was hyped. Like CJ Uzoma was making plays after the catch. I love this team, and when you got 10 different people getting a reception, it's just as fun for us as it is for them. Everybody's just who's gonna get it next? Okay, Barrios. Okay, it was just a real blast.
And that's actually real quick. That's actually an underrated thing too. 10 unique receivers caught a ball yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we even had 10 completions. 10 unique receivers caught the ball, and we had multiple receivers over 64 plus yards. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. In the pouring freaking rain, Zach couldn't do that in perfect conditions. And this is, again, I don't think this game it's not a nail in the coffin for Zach. I don't think it is. And I'm not going to say that it is. I'm not going to say a single negative thing about Zach. I want Zach to be good. I guess what I'm saying is I think it's nice to know that we don't need him to be good. He doesn't need to be the guy. We got a guy that can get us to do at his highs better than Zach has been able to do, in more starting opportunities. That's a very important point that people miss. Mike White might have been around the league longer. Zach has had more actual NFL experience than Mike has by a long shot.
Yep.
And that's something I don't think is really fair to go when everybody's trying to criticize Mike White this, Mike White that. Mike White hasn't been on the field. Yeah, he's 40. But he's he's a little bit older. But he's had so many less opportunities, but he's been able to do so much more in the opportunities that he's gotten. And I think if you were to give the forgiveness that Zach Wilson has got to Mike White, I think you will see similar situations where there's going to be ups. The ups are going to be a higher ceiling up. And I think the downs are going to be not as bad. Zach Wilson's worst games, Mike White isn't coming anywhere remotely close to Zach Wilson's worst game. And I think that's another thing where it's this kid deserves a lot of credit, but it all comes back down to the thing of we want the best player to play the game. And if it's Zach, amazing. I could not be happier. I'm sure everybody on this podcast couldn't be happier. If it's Mike, just as good. Honestly, maybe a little bit better. I'll say it's a little bit better because, Mike's a fan favorite. He's got none of the little baggage. Zach has created a little bit of baggage for himself, and that's something you got to recognize. Even if he does have a future on this team, he's rubbed the defense the wrong way. He's in the, I'm sorry stage. He's in the I'm sorry stage. Mike Wilson's in the I'm playing football with my friends stage. And that is a big difference leading into what the future of both of these quarterbacks do have. But I think we're all aligned that whoever it is, I mean, if whoever it is, Chris Trevler, Mike White, we know it's not Flacco. That's all I'm going to say. That's my point. Is we got a guy on the practice squad and we got 3 guys on the active roster. It ain't Flacco though.
It is definitely not Flacco. And I would also like to take this moment to apologize on behalf of the Take Flight Talk Instagram page. We got so much flack today with the meme today, but it was hilarious. Like I mean,
I didn't post that.
I mean,
I didn't post that.
Hey, you are just as much in this cockpit as I am. But yes, that was me. That was all me. I created.
I was here for it.
But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, everybody wanted to say, oh, well, show the picture, of him with the tablet later. He was probably playing Candy Crush. All right. At that time when that picture was taken, they was going over the TV. And Zach didn't even care. He didn't even want to look over Flacco's shoulder. Nothing. So still not, I'm not, trying to get at him like Fitz. I think Fitz actually just put it best. So I don't even know why I'm echoing or, saying this what I'm saying right now. But, we want whoever it is to succeed. And if it is Trevler, you best believe I want him to succeed. So I would say great win. The coin. We definitely got to talk about the coin before we wrap this up. I mean, what do we do? Do we say eulogy? Like, what do we? the coin is dead.
You guys
went to bed last night when I went to bed.
It's kind of scary though, because now I don't know what will happen. Or at least I had in the back of my mind, like, it's okay, we'll make the AFC Championship and lose because this coin is right. But now the coin is broken. Who knows? Who knows what will happen?
Just release.
Isn't that a tasty lick? Isn't that a tasty lick for the coin to end when we bring in Mike White? Isn't that a tasty lick? Like that to be happening the same week as we bring in QB3.
He killed the coin.
Yep.
So,
destroyer of coins.
Destroyer of coins. Mike White, destroyer of coins. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, I think this was a tremendous Take Flight Talk. Abby, thank you for joining us again in the cockpit. We will see you guys, everybody. All right. Thursday, we're going to prep. We're going to talk about this Vikings game. There will be another Woody 3. And, of course, Abby, break it down. Send this home like the only way you can. Let's do it.
I'm going to leave you how I always leave you. One word, 4 letters, JETS, Jets. You already know.
Boom.